If the evidence brought here holds solid, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes, Kent, because I will show no mercy when it comes to your sentence.
Please, Your Honor, have mercy. I fought so hard for my rights as a trans woman. That little girl shouldn't have complained just because I was using the women's bathroom.
The call came in at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Rebecca Brennan's voice was shaking so badly, the dispatcher almost couldn't understand her. "My daughter said something," Rebecca whispered into the phone. "Something terrible." The dispatcher asked her to repeat herself. She said there's a man in the bathroom watching her. Within an hour, the quiet suburb of Maple Ridge would never be the same. Rebecca Brennan was 32 years old, recently divorced, trying to rebuild her life in a modest two-bedroom house on Pinewood Drive. Her daughter, Lily, was 4, blonde curls, bright eyes, the kind of child who smiled at strangers in grocery stores. The divorce had been bitter. Rebecca's ex-spouse, Jordan Hayes, had fought hard to keep visitation rights. The judge granted them. Every other weekend, Lily would stay with Jordan. Rebecca hated it. She'd told her lawyer, her friends, her therapist, anyone who would listen, that she didn't feel safe letting Lily go. But the law said Jordan had rights, so Rebecca had no choice. That Tuesday, Lily came home from preschool and went straight to the bathroom. Rebecca was in the kitchen making snacks when she heard it, a small, frightened voice calling out, "Mommy?" "Yes, honey?" "There's a man in the bathroom watching me." Rebecca dropped the apple she was holding. It rolled across the floor, forgotten. She ran to the bathroom. Lily was standing there, alone, staring at the mirror. Her face was pale. "What man, baby? What did you see?" Lily pointed at the mirror. "The man, he watches me." Rebecca's hands trembled as she called the police. Then she called her lawyer. Then she posted on Facebook, "My daughter just told me something that broke my heart. Pray for us." Within minutes, the post had 100 reactions. Within an hour, it had 1,000 shares. By the time the police arrived, the story was already spreading. Jordan Hayes was arrested the next morning at work. No warning, no explanation. Just 2 officers walking into the office and asking Jordan to come quietly. The coworkers stared. Cameras from a local news crew were already waiting outside. Jordan didn't resist. What would be the point? At the station, a detective named Paul Grant sat across from Jordan in a cold, gray room. He asked the same questions over and over. "Where were you on Tuesday? Did you see Lily? Did you go to Rebecca's house?" Jordan answered every question the same way. "I wasn't there. I was at work all day. You can check." Detective Grant leaned back in his chair. "You know what I think? I think you're lying." Jordan said nothing. The media picked up the story that night. Trans woman accused of watching child in Shawn bathroom. The comments section exploded. People who had never met Jordan, never heard the full story, had already made up their minds. Catherine Mercer, the district attorney, took one look at the case and knew it would define her career. She called a press conference the next day, standing in of a dozen cameras. She promised justice for Lily Brennan. "We will not rest until this child is safe," Catherine said, her voice strong and clear. The crowd behind her cheered. Jordan sat in a holding cell, staring at the concrete walls, wondering how everything had gone so wrong so fast. Across town, a man named Marcus Klein watched the press conference on his laptop. Marcus was a documentarian, hungry, ambitious, always looking for the next big story. He'd covered 3 criminal cases before, each one more viral than the last. This one felt different. He grabbed his camera and drove to the courthouse. Meanwhile, Diane Foster, a public defender with 20 years of experience and not much faith left in the system, got the call about Jordan's case. She sighed, poured herself another cup of coffee, and headed to the jail. When she walked into the cell, Jordan looked up. Their eyes met. "I didn't do anything," Jordan whispered. Diane sat down across from her. "I know," she said quietly, "but that doesn't matter if we can't prove it." Jordan's face crumpled. "Then what do we do?" Diane didn't have an answer yet. 3 days later, everything changed. Rebecca called 911 again. This time, Her voice wasn't shaking, it was screaming. "My daughter, she's not breathing, please, God, please." Paramedics arrived at 4:12 p.m. They found Lily Brennan in the bathtub. She was already gone. The coroner's report arrived on a Friday morning. Lily Brennan had drowned, the water in her lungs confirmed it. But there was something else, something the medical examiner couldn't ignore. Bruises, small, circular marks on her upper arms, the kind that come from being held tightly. Detective Paul Grant stood in the autopsy room, staring at the photographs spread across the steel table. He'd seen a lot in his 23 years on the force, but this, a 4-year-old girl with bruises shaped like fingertips, this stayed with him. "How long was she in the water?" he asked. The coroner, a woman named Dr. Ellen Shaw, adjusted her glasses. "Based on the condition of the body, I'd say no more. Then 10 to 15 minutes before someone found her." Someone. The 911 call came from Rebecca Brennan at 4:12 p.m. But the actual call to emergency services, Dr. Shaw flipped through her notes. That was made by Jordan Hayes at 3:58 p.m. Grant's jaw tightened. Jordan called it in? Yes. 14 minutes before Rebecca did. That changed everything. At the police station, Rebecca sat in an interrogation room, her face buried in her hands. She'd been crying for hours. Her eyes were swollen, her voice raw. Detective Grant sat across from her, his expression neutral. "Rebecca, I need you to walk me through Tuesday afternoon. One more time." Rebecca looked up. "I already told you everything." "Tell me again." She took a shaky breath. "I left the house around 2. I needed to go to the grocery store. Lily was watching cartoons. I asked Jordan to come over and stay with her. Just for a couple hours. And Jordan agreed." "Yes." Rebecca's voice cracked. I thought it would be okay. It was only 2 hours." Grant leaned forward. "What time did you get back?" "A little before 5. I walked in and—" She stopped, her hands trembling. "The bathroom door was open. Jordan was standing there, just staring at Lily. She wasn't moving, she wasn't doing anything, just staring. And Lily?" Rebecca's face twisted in pain. "She was in the tub. The water was still running. I screamed. I pulled her out. I tried to do CPR, but—" She broke down completely. Grant let her cry for a moment, then slid a piece of paper across the table. "Rebecca, do you recognize this?" It was a receipt. Dated the day Lily died. Time stamped, 2:17 p.m., from a grocery store 6 miles away. "That's mine," Rebecca whispered. "And this?" Grant showed her another receipt. Same store. Time. Stamped 4:52 p.m. Rebecca nodded. "So you were gone from 2:17 until 4:52. That's 2 hours and 35 minutes. "I guess so. I don't know. I wasn't watching the clock." "Where's Jordan's car in all this?" Rebecca blinked. "What?" "We checked the security footage from your street. Your car leaves at 2:14 p.m. It comes back at 4:53 p.m. But we don't see Jordan's car anywhere." Rebecca's face went pale. "She must have parked around the corner. She does that sometimes." "Why would she do that?" "I don't know. Maybe she didn't want the neighbors to see." Grant made a note. "Did Jordan have a key to your house?" "No, I gave her the code to the back door." "And you're sure she was there when you left?" Rebecca hesitated. Just for a second. "Yes. I called her before I left. She said she was on her way." "But you didn't actually see her arrive?" "No. But she answered when I called from the store. She said everything was fine." Grant closed his notebook. "Thank you, Rebecca. That'll be all for now." She looked at him, confused. "That's it? Aren't you going to arrest her?" "We already did." Rebecca exhaled, relief flooding her face. "Good. Good." But as she left the room, Grant couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Across town, Diane Foster sat in a cramped meeting room at the county jail, reviewing Jordan's case file. The evidence was damning. No alibi, no witnesses, and a dead child. But then there was the 911 call. Diane pulled out her laptop and played the recording for the third time. Jordan's voice came through, frantic and broken. "Please, she's not breathing. I found her in the tub. Please send someone." The dispatcher's calm voice. "Is the child responsive?" No, she's not moving. I pulled her out, I tried." "Are you performing CPR?" Yes, please hurry." Diane paused the recording. If Jordan had done this, why call 911? Why try to save her? She made a note to request the full phone records. Then she found something else, something buried at the bottom of the file. 6 months earlier, Rebecca had filed for a restraining order against Jordan. The request was denied. Reason: insufficient evidence. Diane pulled up the court documents. Rebecca's petition claimed that Jordan had been behaving erratically and making threats. But when pressed for details, Rebecca couldn't provide any. The judge had dismissed it as a custody dispute. Diane leaned back in her chair. She'd been doing this long enough to know when someone was building a narrative, and Rebecca Brennan was building one. That night, Marcus Klein sat in his cramped apartment, editing footage from the courthouse. He'd interviewed a dozen people, neighbors, coworkers, random strangers with opinions. Everyone had a theory, no one had facts. But then he found something interesting. One of the neighbors, a woman named Mrs. Callahan, had mentioned something in passing. Lily was such a sweet girl, but she seemed scared lately. She told her teacher she didn't. Like Mommy's new boyfriend. Marcus froze the video, replayed it. Mommy's new boyfriend. He opened his laptop and started searching Rebecca Brennan's social media. It didn't take long. 3 weeks before Lily died, Rebecca had posted a photo with a man. Tall, muscular, buzz cut. The caption read, "New beginnings." His name was Travis Holt. Marcus ran a background check. What he found made his stomach turn. The courtroom was packed, every seat filled. Reporters lined the back wall, cameras ready. Outside, protesters held signs, half demanding justice for Lily, the other half defending Jordan's right to a fair trial. Catherine Mercer stood at the prosecution table, perfectly composed. Navy suit, hair pulled back, every word rehearsed. She'd prepared for this moment for weeks. Across the room, Diane Foster looked tired. Her suit was wrinkled, her coffee was cold, but her eyes were sharp. Jordan sat beside her, staring straight ahead, hands folded, face blank, the weight of the world pressing down. The judge entered. Everyone rose. "The state versus Jordan Hayes," the bailiff announced. Opening statements. Catherine approached the jury box slowly, deliberately. She let the silence settle before she spoke. "Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about betrayal." Her voice was calm, measured. Rebecca Brennan trusted Jordan Hayes. She allowed Jordan into her home, into her daughter's life. And Jordan repaid that trust with violence. She paused, letting the words sink in. 4-year-old Lily Brennan told her mother something horrifying just days before she died. She said, "Mommy, there's a man in the bathroom watching me." A child doesn't make that up. A child doesn't lie about fear. Catherine turned, gesturing toward Jordan. The defendant had motive, jealousy over the divorce. The defendant had opportunity, unsupervised access to Lily, and the defendant had means, complete control over a helpless child. She walked back toward her table. By the end of this trial, you'll see that Jordan Hayes is guilty, not because of who they are, but because of what they did. The jury watched her sit down, stone-faced. Diane stood. She didn't approach the jury. She stayed where she was. "My colleague just told you this case is about betrayal," Diane said quietly. "She's right, but not the way she thinks." She picked up a single sheet of paper. "This is the 911 call. Made on the day Lily Brennan died. It was placed at 3:58 p.m. by Jordan Hayes." Diane held it up. "If Jordan is guilty, why call for help? Why try to save the child? Why not run? Why not hide?" She set the paper down. "Because Jordan loved Lily. And when Jordan found her unconscious in that bathtub, the first instinct wasn't to cover it up, it was to save her." Diane finally stepped toward the jury. The prosecution wants you to believe this case is simple. Motive, opportunity, means. But what they won't tell you is that someone else had all three. Someone else had access to that house. Someone else had a reason to want Lily gone. Catherine stood. Objection. Counsel is speculating. The judge nodded. Sustained. Ms. Foster, stick to the facts. Diane didn't flinch. The facts, Your Honor, will show that my client is innocent, and that the real killer is still free. She sat down. The courtroom buzzed. During the lunch recess, Marcus Klein caught up with Diane outside the courthouse. She was smoking a cigarette, something she'd quit 5 years ago but picked back up 2 days into this case. Ms. Foster, can I ask you something? Diane glanced at him. You're the documentary guy. Marcus Klein. I know who you are. What do you want? Marcus hesitated. I found something about Rebecca's boyfriend. Diane's expression didn't change, but Marcus saw the flicker of interest. Go on. His name is Travis Holt, ex-military, dishonorable discharge, 2 arrests for domestic violence. Charges dropped both times. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her a mugshot. He's been living with Rebecca for the past month. Diane studied the photo. Does the prosecution know about him? I don't think so. He's not listed as a witness. I don't think they even looked. Diane took a long drag of her cigarette. Send me everything you have. Why would they ignore him? Diane gave him a look. Because he doesn't fit their narrative. They've already decided who the villain is. Marcus watched her walk back inside. He thought about following, but his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Unknown. He answered. Hello? Heavy breathing, then a voice, distorted, mechanical. Stop digging. Who is this? You don't know what you're dealing with. Leave it alone. The line went dead. Marcus stood there, heart pounding. He looked around, people everywhere, but no one watching him. He saved the number and kept walking. Back in the courtroom, the prosecution called its first witness. Rebecca Brennan took the stand. She looked smaller somehow, fragile. Her hands shook as she was sworn in. Catherine approached gently. Rebecca, I know this is difficult. Take your time. Rebecca nodded, wiping her eyes. Can you tell the jury what happened on the day Lily died? Rebecca's voice was barely a whisper. I left the house to go to the store. I asked Jordan to watch Lily, just for a little while. And when you came back, Jordan was in the bathroom, standing over Lily. She wasn't moving. The water was still running. What did you do? I screamed. I pulled Lily out. I tried to save her. Rebecca broke down completely. But I couldn't. I couldn't save my baby. Catherine let the moment breathe. The jury watched, some wiping their own eyes. Rebecca, did you ever feel uncomfortable? Leaving Lily with Jordan? Yes, but the court said I had to. Did Lily ever express fear of Jordan? Rebecca nodded. She said there was a man watching her. I knew what she meant. Diane stood. Objection. The witness is interpreting the child's words. Sustained. Catherine stepped back. No. Further questions. Diane approached slowly. Ms. Brennan, you said you left at 2 and came back at 5. That's 3 hours. 2 hours. Maybe a little more. The receipts say 2 hours and 35 minutes. Where were you all that time? The grocery store, running errands. Which store? Market Street, the one on 5th. And it took 2.5 hours to shop? Rebecca's jaw tightened. I had a lot to get. Diane pulled out a document. Your receipt shows 12 items. Milk, bread, eggs. Takes about 20 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I went somewhere else after. Where? I don't remember. Diane let that sit. Ms. Brennan, isn't it true you filed for a restraining order against Jordan 6 months ago? Yes. And it was denied? Yes. Why? Rebecca shifted. The judge didn't think I had enough proof. Proof of what? That Jordan was dangerous. Diane tilted her. But if Jordan was so dangerous, why did you leave Lily alone with them? Rebecca's eyes flashed. Because I had no choice. You always have a choice, Ms. Brennan. Catherine stood. Objection, argumentative. Withdrawn. Diane turned away. One more thing. Do you know a man named Travis? Holt? Rebecca froze. Catherine shot to her feet. Objection, relevance. The judge looked at Diane. Where are you going with this, counselor? Travis Holt is Ms. Brennan's boyfriend, Your Honor. He had access to the house. The judge frowned. I'll allow it. Answer the question, Ms. Brennan. Rebecca's voice was tight. Yes, I know him. Was he at your house the day Lily died? No. Are you sure? Yes. Diane nodded slowly. No further questions. But as Rebecca stepped down, Marcus noticed something. Her hands weren't shaking anymore. Marcus couldn't sleep that night. He kept replaying Rebecca's testimony in his head. The way her voice changed when Diane mentioned Travis. The way her hands stopped shaking. He sat at his kitchen table, laptop open, digging deeper into Travis Holt's background. What he found made his chest tighten. Travis had been married twice before. Both marriages ended badly. One ex-wife had filed a police report, alleged assault, broken ribs, threats, but she dropped the charges 2 weeks later. Marcus found her name, Jessica Crane. She lived 3 states away now. He hesitated, then sent an email. I'm investigating a case involving Travis. Holt, if you're willing to talk, please reach out. He hit send and stared at the screen. Then he found something else. A life insurance policy. Lily Brennan. Beneficiary, Rebecca Brennan. Amount, $500,000. The policy had been opened 2 months before Lily died. Marcus sat back, his mind racing. He grabbed his phone and called Diane. She answered on the 3rd ring. It's midnight, Marcus. Rebecca took out a life insurance policy on Lily, $500,000. Silence. Are you sure? Diane's voice was sharp now, awake. I'm looking at the documents right now, filed 8 weeks before. Lily's death. Send them to me. Already done. Diane exhaled. This changes things. There's more. Rebecca's drowning in debt. Credit cards maxed out. Eviction notices. She was 2 months behind on rent. And now she has $500,000. Exactly. Diane was quiet for a moment. I'll file a motion in the morning. Thank you, Marcus. One more thing, Travis Holt has a history. 2 ex-wives, both claimed abuse. I'm trying to track one down. Be careful, Diane said. If he's involved, he's dangerous. Marcus hung up and stared at his laptop screen. A child was dead. A woman was on trial. And someone was getting away with murder. The next morning, Diane stood before the judge with a stack of documents. Your Honor, the defense moves to introduce new evidence. Financial records showing that Ms. Brennan had significant motive to... Catherine shot to her feet. Objection, this is a baseless accusation against the victim's mother. It's relevant, Your Honor, Diane insisted. Rebecca Brennan was in severe financial distress. She purchased a life insurance policy on her daughter just weeks before the child's death, and now she's the beneficiary of $500,000. The judge frowned, flipping through the documents. Ms. Mercer, did the prosecution investigate Ms. Brennan's financial situation? Catherine's jaw tightened. We saw no reason to. The defendant is the one on trial. Perhaps you should have. The judge looked at Diane. I'll allow the evidence, but tread carefully, counselor. Diane nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. Catherine sat down, her face red. That afternoon, the defense called a financial analyst to the stand. His name was Robert Chen, and he didn't sugarcoat anything. Ms. Brennan's financial records show a pattern of escalating debt. He testified. Credit card balances totaling over $47,000, multiple overdraft fees, a car loan in default, and as of 6 weeks before Lily's death, she was facing eviction. Diane stood at the defense table. In your professional opinion, Mr. Chen, was Ms. Brennan in financial crisis? Absolutely. And the life insurance policy. Is it unusual for a parent to take out a policy that large on a 4-year-old? It's uncommon. Most parents insure children for funeral costs. maybe $10,000 to $20,000. $500,000 is highly unusual. Thank you. Catherine stood for cross-examination, her kaba expression cold. Mr. Chen, is it illegal to purchase life insurance on your child? No. Is it illegal to have debt? No. So Ms. Brennan committed no crime by buying insurance or struggling financially? Not that I'm aware of. Catherine smiled thinly. No further questions. But the jury had heard enough. The whispers started immediately. During the recess, Marcus received an email. It was from Jessica Crane. I'll talk to you, but not over the phone. Meet me tomorrow. I'll send the address. Marcus forwarded it to Diane, then headed to the courthouse cafeteria. He needed coffee and a moment to think. That's when he saw him. Travis Holt, sitting alone at a corner table scrolling through his phone. He looked relaxed, almost bored. Marcus's pulse quickened. He pulled out his phone, pretended to check messages, and activated the voice recorder. Then he walked over. Travis Holt? Travis looked up, eyes narrowing. Who's asking? Marcus Klein. I'm making a documentary about Lily Brennan's case. Travis's expression didn't change. I don't talk to reporters. I'm not a reporter. I'm just trying to understand what happened. What happened is that Psycho killed a little girl. Travis stood, towering over Marcus. Now get out of my face. You were dating Rebecca, right? You were around Lily? Travis's eyes went cold. I said get lost. Did you know about the life insurance policy? Something flickered across Travis's face. Just for a second, then he smiled. Yeah, I knew. Rebecca's smart. She planned ahead. Planned for what? Travis leaned in close. For her future. Now she doesn't have to worry about money. Or a kid slowing her down. Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. You're saying... I'm not saying anything. Travis stepped back. But if you're smart, you'll stop asking questions. He walked away. Marcus stood there, heart pounding, recording still running. He had it. Every word. That night, Marcus met Diane at her office. She listened to the recording 3 times. This is explosive, she said quietly. Can you use it in court? He didn't confess to anything specific, but it shows his mindset, his connection to the money. Diane leaned back in her chair. The problem is how you got it. You recorded him without consent. So it's inadmissible? In court, yes, but... Diane smiled faintly. It's enough to get the judge's attention and, enough to make the prosecution nervous. What do? We keep digging, and we hope Jessica Crane has something solid. Marcus nodded. I'm meeting her tomorrow. Be careful, Marcus. If Travis finds out you're talking to his ex-wife... I know. Diane studied him. Why are you doing this? You could have just made your documentary and moved on. Marcus thought about it. I came here for a story, but this isn't just a story anymore. A little girl is dead, and the wrong person is sitting in that courtroom. Diane nodded slowly. Then let's prove it. Across town, Rebecca sat in her living room staring at her phone. Travis walked in, dropping his keys on the counter. We need to talk. About what? Some guy came up to me today, documentary guy, asking questions. Rebecca's face went pale. What did he ask? About the money, about Lily. What did you tell him? Travis shrugged. Nothing he can use, but he's digging, Rebecca. And if he keeps digging, he won't find anything. You sure about that? Rebecca stood, her voice shaking. Everything went exactly as we planned. Jordan takes the fall. We get the money. No one can prove anything. Travis stepped closer. Then why? And do you look so scared? Rebecca didn't answer. Outside, parked down the street, Marcus sat in his car. Camera pointed at the house, recording. The courtroom felt colder that morning. Catherine Mercer stood before the jury, her confidence returning. She'd spent the weekend preparing for this, her counterattack. The defense wants you to believe that Rebecca Brennan is the villain in this story, Catherine said, pacing slowly. They point to debt, to insurance, to a grieving mother's attempts to survive. But let's talk about facts. She gestured toward a screen where a photo of Jordan appeared. Jordan Hayes had a history of instability. We have testimony from co-workers who describe erratic behavior. We have records of therapy sessions documenting anger issues. Diane stood. Objection. Those records are privileged. They were submitted by the defendant's own insurance company. Your Honor, they're public record. The judge nodded. Overruled, Catherine continued. Jordan Hayes was obsessed with Rebecca, obsessed with maintaining control. And when that control was threatened, when Rebecca tried to move on with her life, Jordan snapped. She let the words hang in the air. Then she called her first witness, Dr. Raymond Foster, psychologist, expert in behavioral analysis. He'd never met Jordan, never evaluated them, but he had credentials, and that was enough. Dr. Foster, Catherine began, in your professional opinion, is it common for individuals who feel rejected to act out violently? Very common, especially in cases involving custody disputes or perceived abandonment. And in this case, Jordan Hayes lost custody rights through a divorce. Would that constitute a triggering event? Absolutely. Diane stood. Objection. The witness is speculating about someone he's never evaluated. Your Honor, Dr. Foster is providing expert testimony based on established psychological patterns. The judge sighed. I'll allow it, but keep it general, Doctor. Dr. Foster nodded. In cases like this, the rejected party often exhibits signs of obsessive behavior, monitoring the former partner, attempting to insert themselves into the child's life, and when those attempts fail, violence can follow. Catherine smiled. Thank you, Doctor. The jury took notes. Some nodded along. Diane stood for cross-examination. She didn't approach the witness. She stayed where she was. Dr. Foster, have you ever met my client? No. Have you reviewed any of their medical records, therapy notes, or psychological evaluations? No, but so everything you just told this jury is based on assumption? Dr. Foster shifted. It's based on years of research and clinical experience. Research on people you've never met. Clinical experience with patients who aren't on trial. Diane tilted her head. Isn't it true, Doctor, that you're being paid $5,000 for your testimony today? Catherine shot up. Objection? Relevance? Goes to bias, Your Honor. I'll allow it. Answer the question, Doctor. Dr. Foster cleared his throat. I'm compensated for my time, yes. $5,000 to tell this jury what the prosecution wants them to hear. Diane paused. No further questions. The damage was done. During the lunch break, Marcus met Jessica Crane at a diner, 40 miles outside the city. She was in her mid-30s, blonde hair pulled back, wearing sunglasses even though they were inside. Her hand shook as she lifted her coffee cup. Thank you for meeting me, Marcus said gently. Jessica didn't look at him. I shouldn't be here. I understand, but if Travis is involved in this, he's involved. Her voice was flat, cold. Travis is always involved. Marcus pulled out his notebook. Can you tell me what happened between you two? Jessica was quiet for a long moment. Then she took off her sunglasses. Her left eye had a faint scar running through the eyebrow. He did this, she said. 3 years ago, we were arguing about money. He said I spent too much. I said we needed groceries. He grabbed a bottle and she stopped. I told the police I fell. Why? Because he told me if I didn't, he'd make it worse. Jessica's voice cracked. I believed him. Marcus felt sick. Did he ever talk about children? He hated kids, said they were a waste of money, a burden. She looked at Marcus directly for the first time. When I told him I was pregnant, he made me get rid of it. Said if I didn't, he'd leave me with nothing. Did you? Jessica nodded, tears streaming down her face. I've regretted it every day since. Marcus reached across the table but didn't touch her. Jessica, Rebecca Brennan's daughter is dead, and I think Travis had something to do with it. Then prove it. Her voice hardened. Because I tried to stop him. Once, and I couldn't. Don't let another woman make the same mistake. Marcus recorded every word. That evening, Diane submitted a new motion to the court. She wanted to include Travis Holt as an alternate suspect. She attached Marcus's recording, Jessica's written statement, financial records, showing Travis had access to Rebecca's accounts. The judge reviewed everything, then called both attorneys into chambers. Ms. Foster, this is compelling, but it's also circumstantial. Your Honor, it establishes motive and opportunity for someone other than my client. Catherine shook her head. It's a fishing expedition. Travis Holt isn't on trial. Maybe he should be, Diane said quietly. The judge leaned back. I'll allow limited questioning about Mr. Holt, but unless you have direct evidence linking him to the crime, he remains a witness, not a suspect. Thank you, Your Honor. Catherine looked furious. The next day, Diane called Rebecca back to the stand. Rebecca looked less fragile now, more guarded. Ms. Brennan, you testified that Travis Holt wasn't at your house the day Lily died. Is that still your statement? Yes. Have you reviewed your phone records from that day? Rebecca hesitated. No. Diane held up a document. Your Honor, I'd like to enter Exhibit 47, phone records from Rebecca Brennan's cell phone. The judge nodded. Diane turned back to Rebecca. At 3:15 p.m. on the day Lily died, you sent a text message to Travis Holt. It says, I need you here. Now, do you remember sending that? Rebecca's face went pale. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe? Diane stepped closer. Ms. Brennan, your daughter was found dead 43 minutes after you sent that message. And you don't remember? I was upset. I don't remember everything I did that day. Were you upset because Lily was in danger, or because your plan was falling apart? Catherine stood. Objection. Withdrawn. Diane walked back to her table. Ms. Brennan, how long has Travis Holt been living with you? About a month. And during that time, did he ever watch Lily alone? Sometimes. If I had errands. Did Lily like him? Rebecca shifted. She was adjusting. Adjusting to what? To having a man in the house. Diane picked up another document. Your daughter's teacher submitted a report to Child Protective Services 3 weeks before Lily died. It states that Lily came to school with a bruise on her arm. When asked how it happened, Lily said, the man at home did it. Did CPS ever contact you? Rebecca's eyes widened. No, I never got a call. The report was filed, Ms. Brennan. It's public record. Diane handed it to the judge. Your Honor, I'd like this entered as Exhibit 48. The judge reviewed it, frowning. Why wasn't this included in the original investigation? Catherine stood, her face red. Your Honor, I was never made aware. That's not an answer, Ms. Mercer. Catherine sat down, silent. The jury stared at Rebecca. Diane continued. Ms. Brennan, if your daughter told her teacher that a man at home hurt her, why didn't you report it? I didn't know. Rebecca's voice broke. I didn't know she said that. Or you did know, and you ignored it. No, because it wasn't Jordan who scared Lily. It was Travis. Rebecca's hands gripped the armrests. That's not true. Lily said, there's a man in the bathroom watching me. She didn't say a woman. She said a man. Diane's voice was steady, cold. She wasn't talking about Jordan, was she? Rebecca's face crumpled. I don't know. I don't know who she meant. Yes, you do. The courtroom was silent. Diane stepped back. No further questions. Rebecca left the stand shaking. Outside the courthouse, Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something told him to. Hello? The same distorted voice. I warned you. Who is this? You're making a mistake. Stop now, or you'll regret it. Is this Travis? The line went dead. Marcus stood there, heart pounding. He looked around. People everywhere, but no one watching him. He saved the number. Again. Then he called Diane. I just got another threat. From who? I don't know, but it's the second one. Marcus Hugh exhaled. Diane, someone doesn't want us digging. Then we're getting close. Marcus found Travis at a bar on the east side of town. It was the kind of place where nobody asked questions. Dark wood, dim lights, cash only. Travis sat at the end of the bar, nursing a whiskey. Marcus had his phone in his jacket pocket, audio recording already running. He sat 2 stools away and ordered a beer. Travis didn't look up. For 10 minutes, Marcus waited. Then Travis ordered another drink, and Marcus saw his opportunity. Rough day? Marcus asked casually. Travis glanced at him. Recognition flickered. You? Yeah, me. I told you to leave it alone. I don't take orders well. Marcus sipped his beer. Besides, I'm just trying to understand what happened. Travis laughed bitterly. What happened is some freak killed a kid. End of story. Is it though? Travis turned fully now, his eyes cold. What do you want? The truth. Truth? Travis drained his glass. Truth is, Rebecca's finally free. No more kid dragging her down. No more custody battles. No more alimony payments to that psycho. Marcus kept his voice neutral. And the insurance money probably helps. Travis smiled. Yeah, it does. $500,000, that's a lot. Rebecca deserves it. She put up with a lot. Like what? Travis leaned closer, alcohol loosening his tongue. Like being married to someone who didn't know what they were. Like having to explain to everyone why her husband was wearing dresses. Like pretending everything was normal when it wasn't. So you think Jordan deserved this? I think Jordan made their own mess. Travis signaled for another drink. And now they're paying for it. Marcus pressed carefully. Where were you the day Lily died? None of your business. Rebecca texted you. Said she needed you. Travis's jaw tightened. So why did she need you if Jordan was already there? Maybe she wanted company. Maybe she was scared of leaving the kid alone with a predator. Or maybe she needed help with something else. Travis stood abruptly, towering over Marcus. You're pushing your luck. I'm just asking questions. Ask somewhere else. Travis grabbed his jacket. And stay away from Rebecca. She's been through enough. He stormed out. Marcus sat there, heart racing, recording still running. He'd gotten what he needed. The next morning, Marcus brought the recording to Diane's office. She listened twice, her expression darkening. He basically admitted he knew about the money before Lily died, Marcus said. He didn't say he did anything. But he's happy about it. A kid is dead, and he's celebrating. Diane nodded slowly. It's not a confession, but it's close. Can you use it? Not in court, but I can use it to apply pressure. She looked at Marcus. Good work, but you need to be careful. Travis knows you're investigating. I know. I'm serious, Marcus. Men like him don't respond well to being cornered. Marcus thought about the threatening calls. I'll be careful. That afternoon, the prosecution called another witness, a neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. Elderly, sweet-looking, the kind of person juries trusted. Mrs. Patterson, Catherine asked gently, did you know Jordan Hayes? Not well. They kept to themselves mostly. Did you ever see Jordan at Rebecca's house? A few times during the custody exchanges. And how did Jordan seem? Mrs. Patterson hesitated. Tense, angry sometimes, like they didn't want to leave. Did that concern you? A little. I thought about calling someone, but I didn't want to interfere. Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. Diane stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Patterson, you said Jordan seemed tense. Did you ever see Jordan act violently? No. Did you ever hear Jordan threaten anyone? No. Did you ever see Jordan harm Lily? No. Diane paused. Did you ever see Travis Holt at Rebecca's house? Mrs. Patterson frowned. Who? Rebecca's boyfriend, tall man, military background. Oh, yes, I saw him a few times. How did he seem? Loud. He and Rebecca argued a lot. What did they argue about? I couldn't hear exactly, but I heard yelling, and once I heard glass. Breaking. Catherine stood. Objection. Hearsay. Your Honor, the witness is describing what she personally heard. The judge nodded. I'll allow it. Diane continued. Did you ever see Travis interact with Lily? Mrs. Patterson thought for a moment. Once she was playing in the yard, he came out and yelled at her to be quiet. She looked terrified. What did she do? She ran inside. Did you report this to anyone? No. I thought it was just discipline. Diane's voice softened. Mrs. Patterson, in all your observations, who seemed more frightening to Lily? Jordan or Travis? Mrs. Patterson looked down. Travis. The courtroom stirred. Catherine tried to recover on redirect, but the damage was done. That night, Marcus received an email. It was from a restricted address. No name, just a message. You want the truth? Check Rebecca's storage unit. Unit 47, Oakdale Storage. Code is 2947. Marcus stared at the screen. It could be a trap, but it could also be the break they needed. He called Diane. I got an anonymous tip. Someone wants me to check Rebecca's storage unit. Don't go alone. I'm not stupid. I'm serious, Marcus. If this is real, it could be dangerous. Then come with me. Silence. I'll meet you there in an hour, Diane said finally. Oakdale Storage was on the outskirts of town. Rows of metal units, most of them locked and forgotten. Marcus and Diane stood in front of Unit 47. You sure about this? Diane asked. No, but we're here. Marcus punched in the code. The lock clicked. They lifted the door. Inside was almost empty. A few boxes, some old furniture, but in the corner, covered with a tarp, was something else. Marcus pulled back the tarp. A child's car seat, stained, damp. Diane knelt beside it, pulling on gloves. She examined the straps. There's residue here, she said quietly. Chemical, could be sedative. Marcus's stomach turned. This is where they planned it. Diane stood, pulling out her phone. We need to call the police, now. But before she could dial, footsteps echoed outside. Someone was coming. Diane and Marcus froze. The footsteps grew closer. Slow, deliberate. Marcus grabbed Diane's arm, pulling her behind a stack of boxes. They crouched low, barely breathing. The footsteps stopped just outside the unit. A shadow stretched across the concrete floor. Then a voice. I know you're in there, Marcus's. Heart stopped. It was Travis. Come out, we need to talk. Diane's hand went to her phone, but Travis spoke again. You call the cops, this gets messy. Just come out. Let's be adults. Marcus looked at Diane. She shook her head. Don't. But Travis wasn't leaving. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Travis. I just want to know what you found. Marcus made a decision. He stood slowly, hands visible. Just me, he said. She's not here. Travis stepped into the doorway, backlit by the parking lot lights. His face was unreadable. You've been busy, Travis said, looking around the storage unit. Asking questions, digging through people's lives. I'm just trying to find the truth. The truth, Travis laughed. You think you know what the truth is? I know a child is dead, and I know you had motive. Travis stepped closer. Motive? Kid, I didn't even know Lily that well. You lived with her. You had access. And now you're $500,000 richer. Travis's expression hardened. That money is Rebecca's, not mine. But you benefit. So what? Travis shrugged. Lots of people benefit when someone dies. Doesn't make them killers. Marcus gestured to the car seat. Then explain. That. Travis glanced at it, then back at Marcus. Old junk. Rebecca stored it after the divorce. It has chemical residue on it. Prove it. They stared at each other. Finally, Travis smiled. You're in over your head. You know that, right? Maybe, but I'm not stopping. Travis took another step. Forward. You should. Behind the boxes, Diane had her phone out, recording everything. Why are you really here, Travis? Marcus asked, keeping his voice steady. To give you advice. Walk away. Finish your little documentary. Blame Jordan like everyone else. And move on with your life. And if I don't, Travis's smile faded. Then you'll regret it. He turned and walked away, his footsteps echoing into the night. Marcus didn't move until the sound disappeared completely. Diane stood, exhaling hard. Did you get that? She held up her phone. Every word. The next morning, Diane filed an emergency motion. She wanted the storage unit seized as evidence. She submitted Diane's recording of Travis. She demanded a full investigation into his involvement. The judge reviewed everything in chambers. This is serious, Ms. Foster. If what you're alleging is true, it is, Your Honor, Travis. Holt had motive, means, and opportunity, and he just threatened a witness. Catherine stood. Your Honor, this is speculation. A storage unit with old baby items proves nothing. It proves Rebecca lied, Diane countered. She said she got rid of everything from the divorce, but she kept this. Why? The judge looked at Catherine. Ms. Mercer, has your office investigated Mr. Holt at all? Catherine hesitated. We found no reason to. Perhaps you should have. The judge signed an order. The storage unit will be secured and examined by forensics, and I want Travis Holt brought in for questioning. Catherine's face went pale. That afternoon, the defense called its star witness, Dr. Alan Torres, child psychologist, expert in forensic interviews. He'd spent hours reviewing the recording of Lily's interview with police. Dr. Torres, Diane began, what did you observe when you reviewed Lily Brennan's statement? Several concerning inconsistencies. Can you elaborate? Dr. Torres adjusted his glasses. Lily described a man in the bathroom using language far beyond her developmental stage. She used terms like watching and staring, which are abstract concepts. 4-year-olds typically describe what they see in simpler terms. He was there, or he looked at me. What does that suggest? That someone coached her, taught her what to say. Catherine stood. Objection. Speculation. Your Honor, Dr. Torres is providing expert analysis based on established research. The judge nodded. Overruled. Continue. Dr. Torres went on. There's also repetition. Lily uses the exact same phrase 3 times. There's a man in the bathroom watching me. Word for word. Children don't speak that way naturally. They paraphrase. They add details. This suggests rehearsal. In your professional opinion, was Lily telling the truth? I believe Lily was repeating what she was told to say. She believed it was true, but it wasn't her own observation. The jury leaned forward. One more thing, Dr. Torres said. Lily never identifies who the man is she's shown. Photos of Jordan during the interview. The investigator asks, is this the person? And Lily says, I don't know. That's significant. If she'd genuinely been frightened by Jordan, she would have identified them immediately. Diane let that sink in. Thank you, doctor. Catherine approached for cross-examination, but she looked shaken. Dr. Torres, isn't it possible that Lily was simply scared and confused? It's possible, but the pattern of language suggests coaching, not confusion. Children forget things. They mix up details. They do, but they don't use identical phrasing. Repeatedly. That requires external influence. Catherine had no response. During the recess, Marcus met with Diane outside. That was good, he said. It's not enough. We need more. What about the storage unit? Forensics is processing it now, but it'll take days. Marcus's phone buzzed. Another. Email. Same restricted address. Rebecca took Lily to 5 therapists in 3 months. Ask why. He showed Diane. She read it, frowning. 5 therapists? That's what it says. Find them, Diane said. Find out why she kept switching. Marcus nodded and got to work. By that evening, he'd tracked down 4 of the 5 therapists. 3 refused to comment, but the 4th, Dr. Emily Warren, agreed to meet him off the record. They met at a coffee shop far from the courthouse. Dr. Warren was in her 50s, tired eyes, careful words. I can't give you details, she said, but I can tell you why I stopped seeing Lily. Why? Because Rebecca was trying to get me to say something specific. She kept bringing Lily in, asking leading questions in front of her. Tell Dr. Warren about the scary person. Tell her what they did. But Lily never said anything on her own. What did Rebecca want you to say? That Jordan was abusing her. That Lily was traumatized. Dr. Warren looked down. I told Rebecca I wouldn't participate in that. She left angry, never came back. Did you report this? I should have, but I didn't have concrete proof of abuse. Just suspicion of manipulation. Her voice cracked. I think about that every day now. Marcus recorded every word. That night, he couldn't sleep again. He sat in his apartment, staring at hours of footage, trying to piece everything together. Rebecca manipulated therapists. Travis had motive and access. The storage unit held evidence, and somewhere in all of this, a little girl had been used as a weapon. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but he did. Heavy breathing. Then the distorted voice. Last warning. Stop digging or you're next. The line went dead. Marcus sat there, hands shaking. He thought about stopping, about walking away. But then he thought about Lily, about Jordan sitting in that cell for something they didn't do. He picked up his camera and kept working. The forensics report arrived on a Thursday morning. Diane read it twice, her hands trembling. The car seat from the storage unit. Tested positive for diphenhydramine, a common sedative found in children's sleep medication. High concentration, far beyond normal use. The stains on the fabric matched Lily's DNA. Diane immediately filed a motion to present the evidence. The judge granted it. That afternoon, she called her expert witness, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, forensic toxicologist. Dr. Mitchell took the stand, her credentials impeccable. Dr. Mitchell, Diane began, can you explain what diphenhydramine is? It's an antihistamine, commonly sold as children's sleep aid. In small doses, it's safe. In larger doses, it can cause severe drowsiness, disorientation, and in extreme cases, respiratory depression. What did you find on the car seat from Rebecca Brennan's storage unit? Residue indicating repeated exposure to diphenhydramine. The concentration suggests the medication was administered regularly and in significant amounts. The jury shifted uncomfortably. What does that tell you? That someone was sedating a child, repeatedly. Diane paused, letting it land. Dr. Mitchell, Lily Brennan's autopsy showed traces of diphenhydramine in her system at the time of death. Is that consistent with what you found? Yes. In your professional opinion, was Lily sedated before she drowned? Almost certainly. Catherine shot up. Objection. Speculation. Your Honor, Dr. Mitchell is basing her conclusion on forensic evidence and toxicology reports. The judge nodded. Overruled. Diane continued. If someone wanted to sedate a child to make them compliant or unconscious, would diphenhydramine be effective? Yes, it's readily available and difficult to detect without specific testing. Thank you, doctor. Catherine's cross-examination was brief and ineffective. The evidence spoke for itself. After court, Marcus caught up with Diane in the hallway. That was devastating, he said. It should be, but we still need to connect it directly to Rebecca or Travis. What about the pharmacy records? Diane nodded. Already subpoenaed. We'll have them by tomorrow. Marcus's phone buzzed, another email. From the anonymous source. Check Travis's bank account. 3 days after Lily died. He showed Diane. She made a call. The pharmacy records arrived the next morning. Rebecca Brennan had purchased children's sleep medication 4 times in 6 weeks. Each bottle contained enough for 30 doses. For a 4-year-old, that was excessive. But there was more. Travis Holt's bank records showed a cash deposit of $15,000 3 days after Lily's death. No explanation, no paper trail. Diane presented both findings to the judge in an emergency hearing. Your Honor, this establishes a clear pattern. Rebecca was sedating her daughter regularly, and Travis received a significant cash payment immediately after Lily's death. Catherine looked defeated. Your Honor, we request a continuance to investigate these findings. Denied, the judge said sharply. You've had months to investigate. The defense has done your job for you. Catherine sat down, her face pale. The judge turned to Diane. Ms. Foster, I'm granting your motion to dismiss all charges against Jordan Hayes pending a full investigation into Rebecca Brennan and Travis Holt. The courtroom erupted. Diane closed her eyes, exhaling for what felt like the first time in weeks. Jordan sat frozen, tears streaming down their face, but Catherine wasn't finished. That evening, she appeared at Diane's office unannounced. I'm offering Jordan a deal, she said quietly. Diane looked up from her desk. What kind of deal? Plead guilty to involuntary manslaughter. 5 years, she'll be out in 3 with good behavior. Absolutely not. Diane, listen. No, you listen. My client is innocent. You know it. The evidence proves it. Catherine leaned against the doorframe. The jury's been watching this case for weeks. They've heard every theory. They're exhausted. They might convict just to end it. Or they might see the truth. Catherine's voice dropped. If this goes to verdict and Jordan loses, it's life in prison. Take the deal. Let her go home. Diane stood. Get out of my office. Catherine left without another word. That night, Diane visited Jordan in holding. She explained the offer. Jordan stared at the table between them. 5 years for something I didn't do. I know. If I take it, everyone will think I'm guilty. Yes. Jordan looked up, eyes hollow. What do you think I should do? Diane chose her. Words carefully. I think you deserve justice, but I also think you deserve to be free. And I can't promise you'll get both. Jordan was silent for a long time. Finally, they spoke. If I take the deal, does Rebecca go free? For now, yes. And Lily? Her killer walks away. Jordan's hands clenched into fists. Then no deal, I won't let that happen. Diane felt something break inside her chest. Jordan, I loved that little girl. And if I give up now, her death means nothing. Jordan's voice was steady. So no, we fight. Diane nodded slowly. Then we fight. The next day, Rebecca was called back to the stand. Diane wasted no time. Ms. Brennan, you purchased children's sleep medication 4 times in 6 weeks. Why? Rebecca shifted. Lily had trouble sleeping. 4 bottles? That's 120 doses. I wanted to have extra. Or you were using it. Regularly. Multiple times a week. No. Diane held up the pharmacy records. The autopsy showed diphenhydramine in Lily's system when she died. You gave it to her that day, didn't you? She was fussy. I just wanted her to calm down. You wanted her unconscious. No. Because you and Travis had a plan. Sedate Lily, stage an accident, collect the insurance money. Catherine stood. Objection. Your Honor, I have evidence. Approach, the judge said. At the bench, Diane presented Travis's bank records. The judge's expression darkened. Where did this money come from? We don't know yet. But the timing is suspicious. The judge turned to Catherine. Ms. Mercer, are you investigating this? We are now, Your Honor. See that you do. The judge looked at Diane. Continue. Diane returned to Rebecca. Ms. Brennan, did you send Travis Holt $15,000 3 days after Lily died? Rebecca's eyes widened. No, I didn't have that kind of money. Then where did he get it? I don't know. Did he threaten you? Force you to participate? Rebecca's lip trembled. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. Rebecca broke. He said it would be easy, that no one would know, that we'd finally be free. The courtroom went silent. Catherine closed her eyes. Diane stepped back. No further questions. Laura Bennett reviewed the case files with fresh eyes. She saw what Catherine had refused to see. Reasonable doubt everywhere. She called both Rebecca and Travis in for questioning. FBI agents present. Travis arrived with a lawyer. Rebecca came alone, trembling. "Ms. Brennan," Laura began, "we know about the storage unit, the medication, the money. This is your last chance to tell the truth." Rebecca broke down. Travis said it would be easy, that no one would suspect. Anything. Suspect what? That we... She stopped, crying harder. Travis tried to flee. Airport security caught him with $80,000 cash and a one-way ticket to Mexico. In interrogation, he finally cracked. "Rebecca wanted her gone," he said coldly. "The kid was in the way. I just helped make it look like an accident." "How?" "Sedative in her juice, then the bathtub. Rebecca called Jordan over to make it look suspicious." Laura recorded every word. Rebecca was arrested that night. Jordan, watching from the jail, finally allowed herself to cry. Laura presented the evidence, messages between Rebecca and Travis discussing the plan. Rebecca's lawyer tried to claim coercion, but the texts told a different story. "Once she's gone, we're free. The insurance will solve everything. Jordan will take the blame." Diane presented one final piece, a draft email on Rebecca's laptop. "If Jordan disappears, everything resolves itself." The jury gasped. Rebecca screamed that it was taken out of context. No one believed her. Travis took a plea deal, testify against Rebecca for a reduced sentence. On the stand, he detailed everything, how Rebecca planned it for months, how she manipulated Lily into saying the words about the man in the bathroom. "She coached the kid for weeks," Travis said, "made her repeat it until it sounded real." Jordan sat in the gallery, finally free, watching the truth unfold. Marcus filmed everything. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty. First degree. Murder. Rebecca collapsed. The jury returned after 3 hours of deliberation. The courtroom was silent as the foreman stood. "In the case of the state versus Jordan Hayes, we find the defendant not guilty." Jordan's knees buckled. Diane caught her, holding her up as tears streamed down both their faces. The gallery erupted, half cheering, half shouting in protest. Rebecca Brennan sat across the courtroom, stone-faced, as marshals prepared to take her into custody. 2 weeks later, Rebecca's trial began. The evidence was overwhelming. Text messages, bank records, the storage unit. Travis's testimony. But the final blow came from the FBI. Special Agent Maria Santos took the stand with a file that made the entire courtroom go silent. "We discovered that Ms. Brennan attempted a similar scheme 4 years ago," Agent Santos testified. "Different partner, different city. She had taken out a life insurance policy on a friend's child she was babysitting, but she backed out before going through with it." Laura Bennett stood. "This wasn't a moment of desperation. This was a pattern." The jury deliberated for 2 days. Guilty. First-degree murder. Fraud. Conspiracy. Rebecca was sentenced to life without parole. Travis received 25 years as part of his plea agreement. Marcus Klein's documentary aired 3 months later. The final episode showed Rebecca's draft email on a black screen. "If Jordan disappears, everything resolves itself." Then Marcus's voice, quiet and heavy. "She was convicted of killing her daughter, but only because she didn't kill well enough." The screen cut to footage of Lily playing in a park, laughing, alive. Then to Jordan, sitting alone in a new apartment in a new city, staring out a window. "The truth didn't bring Lily back," Jordan said softly to the camera. "It didn't give me my life back. It just showed me how easily people believe what they want to believe." Marcus's final words: "Justice was served, but the cost was a child's life, and that's a debt that can never be repaid." The documentary reached 100 million views worldwide. It sparked conversations about false accusations, media trials, and the danger of rushing to judgment. But for Jordan, none of it mattered. She changed her name, moved to a small town where no one knew her story. She never spoke publicly again. Rebecca and Travis remained in prison, each blaming the other, and the world moved on to the next viral tragedy, The next polarizing case, the next headline. Lily's grave sat quiet in Maple Ridge Cemetery. Fresh flowers appeared every week. No one knew who left them, but Jordan knew. She always knew.